You know that feeling when your phone flashes storage almost full? It's the worst. Well, what if I told you that you own a device that could store over 300 years of nonstop video? And yeah, you've got one right between your ears. Today, we're diving into the real storage capacity of the human brain. And I promise you, the answer is going to blow your mind. Look, we're all fluent in megabytes, gigabytes, terabytes. We know exactly what it means for our phones and laptops. We're constantly managing our digital lives, deleting photos to make room for new apps. But what about the ultimate supercomputer, the one that's running the whole show? You know, trying to measure your brain's capacity in gigabytes is a little like trying to measure an ocean with a teacup. It just doesn't work. The answer isn't some simple number we can jot down. It's about a completely different and way more fascinating design. Okay, so here's the core difference. A computer, it stores information in neat little binary files. Static, predictable. Your brain, oh, it's a living, breathing, dynamic network. A memory isn't a single file you pull up. It's a web of connections, sights, sounds, smells, emotions that actually changes a little bit every single time you remember it. So, knowing it's a flawed comparison, let's do it anyway. Let's just try to imagine the brain as a hard drive. How powerful is the hardware we're working with? Let's talk specs. Inside your head, you've got about 86 billion neurons. That's a huge number, but that's not even the crazy part. The magic is in the connections. They form trillions of links called synapses. And get this, each one of those neurons can connect to about 10,000 others, creating a network so dense it's almost impossible to comprehend. Given that incredible hardware, scientists have tried their best to translate it into digital terms we can understand. So let's get to the numbers. And trust me, these estimates are absolutely staggering. Now, these figures are so massive, they can feel a bit meaningless. So for this next part, we're going to put them in a context you can actually wrap your head around. All right, a pretty common middle-of-the-road estimate for the brain's capacity is around 100 terabytes. What does that even mean? Well, that's enough space to store 32,000 hours of high-definition video. That's like recording video 24/7 for over 3.5 years straight. But hang on, many scientists think that 100 terabytes is way too conservative. The high-end estimate is a mind-bending 2.5 petabytes. And just to be clear, a petabyte is 1,000 terabytes. We're talking about 2.5 million gigabytes of storage. Let's go back to that video analogy. 2.5 petabytes? That's enough room for 670,000 hours of HD video. You'd have to let a camera run continuously for more than 76 years to fill that up. Your entire lifetime in HD with room to spare. Let's just put this into some wild perspective. The computer that guided Apollo 11 to the moon had 64 kilobytes of memory. The entire IRS data warehouse, with all those tax records, about 150 terabytes. Even one of the world's biggest data centers, Yahoo's, clocks in at about 2 petabytes. And your brain could potentially hold more than all of that. But, okay, like we said at the start, the brain is not just a big, squishy hard drive. The real magic isn't the size of the storage, it's the operating system. It's how the whole thing actually works. The secret sauce here is a concept called neuroplasticity. It means your brain is not static. It's not a write-once disk. It is constantly rewiring itself, building new pathways, and strengthening old ones based on everything you do and experience. Think of it less like a warehouse and more like a bustling city that's always under construction. And that brings us to this really crucial insight. It's not just about how big the brain is. What really matters is the complexity of those connections and how efficiently the system processes information. A bigger brain doesn't automatically mean a better memory. And we see this in the real world. Just think about people with extraordinary memories, like Kim Peek, the inspiration for the movie Rain Man. He proved that the brain's potential isn't just about how much it can hold, but about developing unbelievably efficient ways to file, find, and retrieve that information. So this brings up a really logical question. If we're constantly absorbing new information every single second, how does the brain handle it all without just crashing? Well, it has this brilliant built-in management system. So let's ask it plainly. Can you literally fill up your brain? Can you get to a point where you just can't learn anything new because, brain fall? Well, according to neuroscientists, the answer is a pretty clear no. You are not going to run out of storage. And that's because your brain isn't just a data hoarder. It is an active, brilliant curator of information. Now, get this. Forgetting isn't a bug in the system, it's a feature. Your brain is actively designed to clear out irrelevant information to make you more efficient. It does this through something called neural pruning, where it literally trims away old, unused connections. It's like a master gardener pruning a tree to make it stronger and healthier. It's a self-cleaning hard drive.
And this all happens through a pretty cool process. When you experience something, it first goes into your short-term memory, which is managed by a part of your brain called the hippocampus. Then, while you're sleeping, your brain gets to work. It sifts through the day's events, decides what's important enough to keep, and then wires those memories into your vast long-term storage.
So, knowing all this, how this incredible system works, the last question is, can we do anything to help it run even better? And the answer is a definite yes. Let's look at some real, practical ways you can enhance your own memory.
So how do we take care of this thing? Well, the science is pretty clear. A lot of it is stuff you already know is good for you. Regular exercise, a healthy diet, and especially getting enough sleep. That's when all that memory consolidation happens. But it's also about actively challenging your brain by learning new things and managing your stress levels through things like meditation. And let's wrap up the practical advice with this key point. A great memory isn't just about having a full library. It's about having a great filing system. Being able to find and retrieve the right information when you need it is every bit as important as having the space to store it in the first place. So, what we've learned is that our brains are nothing like a computer with a fixed limit. They're dynamic, they're adaptable, and they have a seemingly endless potential for learning and for growth. Which leaves us with just one real question. What are you going to do with yours? Thanks for tuning in.